Hello photography fans and welcome back to another LensVid review. Today we're taking a look at the Manfrotto 460 Gimbal and the Manfrotto Gimboom. Let's see what these are all about. Today we're looking at the Manfrotto 460 Gimbal. This is a stabilizer with a 4.6 kilo capacity that promises quick camera installation and ease of use with an intuitive touchscreen interface. This version comes with some of the latest technology available on gimbals, like a control wheel and a 12-hour battery life. Manfrotto is a big name in the photo-video industry. They provide lots of solutions for travel and studio shoots like tripods, grip, and lighting. Manfrotto ships this gimbal in a gray styrofoam box. Not the most elegant solution, but it works. Inside you get the gimbal itself, a mounting plate, a quick release plate, a top bracket, 4 batteries with a charger and cable, a support arm, tripod legs, a lens support, and camera control cables. At first, this gimbal looks pretty standard with no outstanding features like accessory mounts or ergonomic design, but upon further inspection, the simplicity of this design seems to be the main point of this unit. It just does what it's supposed to do. It's an all-metal construction with a rubberized grip, locking axes, 2 USB ports, and a camera control port on the tilt base plate. Folded up, the 460 measures about 45 centimeters long by 24 centimeters wide. It's pretty compact compared to some of the other gimbals that we have in the studio. It weighs under 2 kilos with the tripod and the support arm. One of the most prominent features on this gimbal is the quick release plate. It allows to dismount the camera without messing up the balancing. Manfrotto isn't the only brand that offers this option, but this one is important because it's not just a proprietary system. This release plate is compatible with the Arca Swiss standard. This is a big deal for us because all of our tripods in the studio are fitted with RC2 supports, and we've been using release plates that are compatible with both the Arca and RC2. So now we can easily go from this Manfrotto gimbal to any of our RC2 supports and without having to rebalance the gimbal when returning the camera. This is a big plus. The quick release plate comes with a D-ring to attach to the camera, but we suggest tightening it with a screwdriver for additional grip. To operate the quick release, turn the lever to the open position and hold it there while angling the camera to the right away from the lever. In order to help with balancing, with the lock-in lever released halfway, you can slide the camera back and forth. With some front-heavy setups, you will need this additional 2 to 3 centimeters that this adjustment provides. To mount the camera back on the gimbal, angle the release plate against the right edge of the mount, then press down on the left to activate the lock. Tighten the lock-in lever by pulling it back. The base plate inserts from the front towards the back and has stoppers on both ends. There are arrows on both components to guide this operation. You lock the base plate in place by pulling back on the lever. To release the plate for storage, loosen the lever and slide the plate forward while pushing the release button on the back end. One note about balancing. The mounting plate release lever and the quick release lever are very close together and look very similar. If you're not mindful during the balancing process, it's possible to unintentionally release the camera instead of loosening the mounting plate, and this can result in the camera falling off the gimbal, so make sure you hold the camera while operating the release levers. The kit ships with 4 big lithium-ion batteries and a dedicated charger. There's no way to charge these batteries through the USB interface on the gimbal. This may or may not be a design flaw. There are plenty of people that would argue for or against this feature. On the one hand, you can't simply power the gimbal with a power bank for continuous usage, but you can always have a second set of batteries to ensure that you can continue working with the gimbal after the 12 hours of runtime are up. While you will probably not have to continuously use the gimbal for 12 hours, it's important to remember that charging these batteries takes about 5 hours. Another note about installing the batteries: in order to get to the battery compartment, you have to unscrew this metal cap on the bottom of the gimbal. There's no direction guide on the battery bay, so you kinda have to look at the terminals to know which way the batteries go in. One observation that we have about this process is that the battery door feels a little hard to close. We wonder if in the long run it will hold up to the constant back and forth. The overall design of the Manfrotto 460 is pretty minimalist, but the features feel very well thought out. One element of the design that we think needs a little work are the axes locks. They feel a bit flimsy and they open up on you without you noticing. The The add-on support arm is made of metal. It attaches with a special non-twist positioning guide, which is a nice touch. On both sides of the arm there are 1/4-inch mounting holes with some slits that look like some anti-twist mount, but we're not sure what kind. We tried a mount with RE locating pins, but it didn't fit in the slits. It did work though because the pins grip the sides of the arm. The back end of the arm has another 1/4-inch mount for a handle. Our kit did not include this handle, but Manfrotto sells a long carbon fiber extension that you can use on the end of this arm. Another option that you can buy separately to use as a handle is a wireless controller that features all the buttons and a simple menu screen. We didn't get this accessory, so we couldn't test it, but it looks promising since it allows to control the unit remotely and has a motion mimic feature. The tripod is pretty simple but very sturdy, something you would expect from Manfrotto. It's an all-metal construction with a rubberized grip and rubber feet. Something we haven't seen on many other gimbal tripods is that this one comes with screws to control the tension on the legs. Another interesting accessory is the stop bracket that gives extra grip for the camera while also adding extra mounting holes on top. It connects to the camera's hot shoe on one side and on the other side to a provided short rod that screws into the top of the gimbal's tilt arm. Do you know what else is a great accessory? The subscribe button. So hit subscribe and hit the bell notification. To operate the gimbal, there's a control wheel, a joystick, 6 buttons, and a clear LCD screen. The joystick feels very springy and the response is quick. There's no way to adjust the joystick response time on the gimbal, but you can use the app for these settings. The 4 buttons on the front are for turning the unit on and off, changing between lock mode and pan follow mode, and operating the camera, photo, and video functions. There's a trigger button on the back of the unit for temporarily going into follow mode and for repositioning the camera. The right side of the gimbal features a function button. Single-click the function button to lock and unlock the screen. Within the menu interface, single-clicking the function button returns to the main screen. The control wheel allows for fine-tuned control of the axes. To pick which axis to control, click on the wheel. As you click on it, you can see the setting icon change on the screen. You can also use this wheel to control the wireless follow focus add-on, but we didn't receive this unit in our kit, so we couldn't test it. The menu touchscreen is pretty intuitive. You just swipe through the menu pages and tap on the items. Use the joystick to set the values. The main screen displays 4 modes that you can tap on to control how the gimbal reacts to your movements. The lock mode keeps the camera pointed in one direction. The pan mode frees the pan axis. The follow mode frees the pan and tilt axes. And the all follow mode frees all the 3 axes. When swiping left from the home screen, you enter the camera controls menu. Connect your camera to the USB camera control interface on the left side of the gimbal's tilt base. Depending on the camera and lens compatibility, you can use the gimbal's controls to start and stop video, take photos, set your camera's white balance, zoom in and out, and switch between photo and video modes. We tried the compatibility functions with 4 different Sony cameras, and the gimbal was only able to maintain a steady connection with our A6500 and the A6300. But the only control options in these were taking photos and video. We found this functionality quite limited and also pretty slow. Manfrotto will need to work on this in future firmware updates. Swiping to the right of the home screen takes you to a quick feature selection. The first one is Inception mode. Tap on it to enter the settings screen. Here you can choose the direction and the number of rotations. In order to use this feature, turn the gimbal handle horizontally. The second feature in this menu is motion time-lapse. This requires camera control because you set the gimbal to take still images at a set interval of time. You can set this up in the app or in the interface. In the settings for this feature, you have the option to indicate the start and stop rotation and tilt angles. Going back to the features screen, you have the selfie button. Tap on it to turn the camera to face you. Double-click on the trigger button to recenter the camera. The last option on the screen is the portrait feature, which changes the camera orientation to shoot vertical video. This option is grayed out and is activated when you position the gimbal horizontally. To exit portrait orientation, double-click on the trigger button. The other 2 buttons on the bottom of this screen are for the wireless follow focus unit and to toggle between control wheel modes. 2 swipes to the right of the home screen will take you to the gimbal settings. Here you can set the responsiveness of the gimbal by entering one of the maneuver modes. The smooth mode allows for longer sweeps as the gimbal follows the movement. The action mode keeps the sweeps to a minimum. This mode feels quick and responsive. You can also set these values manually in the custom mode. The app to control the gimbal is pretty straightforward. Connecting is simple. The app allows to move each independent axis remotely. There is a settings page, but it has some problems. While you can change the maneuver modes, the joystick and trigger settings don't seem to register with the gimbal. The app is a little too simple and clearly needs more development and error proofing. Another interesting add-on from Manfrotto is this extension they call the Gimboom. If you've seen our Manfrotto 635 fast tripod review, you'll recognize this technology. It's a lightweight but durable carbon fiber tube that weighs under 150 grams and extends from 50 centimeters to about 1 meter by releasing the mechanism in the middle. Attaching this Gimboom extension to the gimbal allows for smoother control of long vertical and horizontal sweeps. You can also get creative angles by raising or lowering the camera. The Gimboom features 3 mounting holes for adding accessories like a monitor, but it's missing any kind of anti-twist adapters. There is also a mounting hole on the bottom end of the Gimboom, so you can attach tripod legs, for example. It's a sturdy construction and it really helps in controlling and handling the gimbal. When working with the gimbal in the field, it simply did what we expected it to. It's responsive and it's easy to go through all the controls. The handle is a little too short, but the tripod extension makes up for it. Using the Manfrotto 460 connected to the Gimboom makes it even easier to handle. In conclusion, this gimbal is strong enough to maneuver some hefty camera setups. The available accessories make up for the gimbal's minimalist design. You have the option to strip it down to bare essentials, or rig it to get it ready for heavy prolonged use. There isn't much to critique in this unit, other than the locks, the compatibility issues, and the app. But most of these can be solved in the coming updates. Basically, we feel that Manfrotto entering the stabilizer market is a great thing, and we're excited to see new products that they will come out with. As for pricing, the Manfrotto 460 gimbal sells for $530. The wireless controller is an extra $150. The follow focus unit adds an extra $110 to the package, and the Gimboom extension another $200. And that is it for our look at the Manfrotto 460 gimbal and the Gimboom extension. Go check out the full review on our website at lensvid.com. Subscribe to this channel, come back for more videos. We'll see you in the next one.
Bloopers.
Today we're taking a look at the 460 gimbal. Back for more videos.
Come back.
Because we're making more.
All the time.
All the time. For you.